All right, I wanted to jump on really quickly and talk about what in the world is going on with Solana and GSOL and the fact that it has an implied value of over $500 right now. So we're not going to waste any time. Let's just get into the video, okay? So also, in yesterday's video, I told you all that I was opening up a trade at $48 with the stop loss at $45 at 4x leverage, and I actually have taken half of the profits off of the table now that we've hit this $59 level. This was about $1,000 that I went in with, and currently we are looking pretty damn good. I took profits while I was up about, I think it was like 24% or 23% roughly. Now again, I was on 4x leverage, so that was about an 80% gain in which I have taken half of the profits off the table from. So of course, that I'm pretty happy with that, honestly. Now I am going to let the rest of it ride. I'm happy with the gain that I made, honestly. And so if I'm wrong here, I'm wrong, but I do believe if we do clear $59 that we are on track to go to $78. So I'm just going to let this puppy go. Let's just kind of see how it goes. Obviously, I do recommend everyone make sure that they are moving stop losses and adjusting with it, but I'm just going to let it ride and kind of just see what happens here. But again, as I mentioned before, on that $1,000 open trade, we did get a gain of about 80%, in which we have taken half of the profits off the table at 4x leverage. Okay, so just wanted to update you on that. But if you want more information about that trade, go watch yesterday's video, then come back to this one. Now, let's talk about what in the world is happening with Grayscale Solana Trust, because it's ridiculous. Okay, so currently, as of 11/10, or as of yesterday, we'll see what happens today, it was trading at $202. Now, what in the world does that mean? So if we scroll down here, we can see that the market price per share is sitting at $202. Now, I want you to keep in mind, one share isn't equivalent to one SOL. No, one share is equivalent to 0.38 SOL. So if we then go ahead, let's pull up our little handy dandy calculator here. This one should work. And we actually just type in, let's just do some basic math here, right? So if we have 0.38 is equal to one share. Well, how do we figure out how much Solana is, or how much money, technically cash, is that worth per Solana, or the implied value of one Solana in the trust itself? So what we're going to do is we're going to take 100, we're going to divide it by 38, okay? So now we got 2.6315788947, whatever, okay? Now we're going to take this number and multiply it by the implied price, okay? So the price currently sitting at $202 market price per share. Remember, so we're trying to figure out how many shares is worth one Solana. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to multiply this again by $202. No, not $2,002, $202. And that gives you $531. So that means it takes about 2.63 shares to equal one SOL, and 2.63 shares at a price of $202 gives you $531 per each SOL. That is the amount that they are paying, or the implied value of which they are paying per SOL through the trust, which is ridiculous. Okay, it's absolutely ridiculous. That's like a 10x. That's a 10x multiple, a 10x premium. Stupid, but that's just what it is. Now, the question then becomes, well, does that mean that Solana should be at $500? No, it just doesn't. Okay, I'm sorry, it just doesn't. Okay, the reason I say that is because what you have to consider is that the AUM, or the assets under management here, are $6.3 million. A good amount, right? That means $6.3 million have been invested in a GSOL, but that's not enough to equal how much the overall market value of an asset that has billions of dollars in market cap. It's not, okay? It does mean that institutional investors, or people who are investing through this institution at least, are willing to pay at that premium. And so there are people out there who are willing to pay it, who are willing to pay it at even higher price than we are now at $58. That is true. And of course, many people do say the value of something is what someone is willing to pay for it. So the implied value of it definitely could be $500 plus, but it doesn't mean that Solana's price is going to just pump to $500 like some people on Twitter are saying. They're saying this means that it should. That's just not true, right? These people in these institutions can be just as many degens as we can be, right? And so they're not kind of the know-all be-all in deciding what the value of something is. And you have to remember, in 2020, 2021, some of these Grayscale trusts were trading at huge premiums that never amounted to the actual underlying asset reaching that price, right? And so with that in mind, I just want y'all to keep that in mind, that this does not mean it's going to go to $500, but it does mean that there are institutional investors who are willing to pay a much higher premium than we are at now, implying that we definitely could see Solana's price continue this rally, even though everything points to a pullback coming soon. The amount of FOMO we're seeing right now, with people being able to pay or willing to pay a 10x premium, could continue this thing forward. So with that in mind, I am still, again, looking for this thing to break $59.50. If that is the case, I am then on track thinking this thing's going to $78, because again, there just simply is not enough liquidity in between 58 and 70. Look, like what we were talking about, right? No liquidity really. No liquidity really. When we go up through it, we go straight up through it. When we go down through it, we go straight down through it. So I do believe that is the case, but we are at resistance right around $59. So watch that closely to see if we break it. And if we break it, I think this train's going to continue. So with that said, you guys know we've been updating you 2 to 3 times every single week on Solana for the last 2 years straight when almost everyone else abandoned it. So if you do want consistent updates from someone who has been through the struggle with Solana, make sure that you do subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all next time. Peace out, everybody.